Emma Hayes stood frozen at the doorway of her apartment. Water covered the wooden floor, soaking into her carpet and furniture. A burst pipe from the unit above had turned her cozy home into a disaster zone. "Oh no," she whispered, stepping carefully into the waterlogged room. Her couch was ruined, her books were soaked, and a brown stain crept up the walls. She grabbed her phone and began taking pictures for insurance. "Where are you watching from today? Kindly hit like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more." Emma had always been the responsible one in her family. For 10 years she had set aside money every month into a family emergency fund, something her parents encouraged when she got her first full-time job. Her younger brother Jake, on the other hand, never saved much and often relied on others to bail him out. "This is what the fund is for," Emma muttered to herself. "Surely they'll help." The landlord, Mr. Howard, arrived an hour later, his face pale as he saw the damage. "This is bad," he admitted, shaking his head. "You'll need to move out for at least 6 weeks while we repair everything." "I'm really sorry, Emma." Emma nodded, trying not to cry. "Do you have any short-term units I could move into?" He sighed. "Everything's full at the moment. Maybe check into a hotel or stay with friends." Emma nodded again, forcing a smile. As soon as he left, she sat on a dry corner of her kitchen counter, pulled out her phone and stared at her contacts. After a long moment she called her mom. "Mom? It's me," Emma said, her voice shaking. "My apartment flooded. I need help." There was a pause. "What kind of help?" her mother asked, her tone distant. "I need to dip into the emergency fund. Just until I can get back on my feet. I have renter's insurance, but it won't cover everything right away." Her mother hesitated. "Emma, is this really an emergency? Can't you stay with someone for a bit? Maybe a friend?" Emma blinked in disbelief. "I've contributed to that fund for 10 years, Mom. I need it now." "Well," her mother said sharply, "your father will have to be part of that decision. It's not just up to me." Before Emma could reply, she heard her brother Jake's voice in the background. "Hey, Em," he said casually before the line went dead. Emma sat stunned, staring at her phone. Less than a minute later, a text from Jake appeared. "Heard about the flood. Sucks to be you right now. Maybe now you'll understand priorities." Her hands trembled. She didn't understand what he meant. She had been the one saving. She had been the one planning. And now, when she finally needed help, she was being treated like a nuisance. She couldn't stay in her soggy apartment, and her family clearly wasn't rushing to help. Emma scrolled through her contacts again and called her best friend. "Blair," she said, her voice breaking. "Can I crash with you for a few days?" "Of course, Em. Come over right now," Blair said. "What happened?" Blair opened the door in sweatpants and a hoodie, pulling Emma into a hug. "You look like you've been through a war," she said gently. Emma dropped her overnight bag on the floor and sank onto the couch. "You won't believe what happened. My apartment's a mess. And when I asked Mom about the emergency fund, she acted like I was asking for a loan." Blair raised an eyebrow. "Wait, the fund you've been paying into for years?" Emma nodded. "And then Jake sent me this weird text. It's like, they all know something I don't." Blair sat beside her. "You're not crazy. Something's off. And I think I know what it is." Blair got up and walked into her small kitchen. "You want tea or something stronger?" Emma gave a tired smile. "Tea's fine. I'm too exhausted to drink." Blair poured hot water into 2 mugs. "Emma, I didn't want to say anything until I was sure, but at your cousin's wedding last month, I overheard your mom and Aunt Valerie talking about a fund." Emma sat up straighter. "What kind of fund?" "They were whispering about setting up money for Jake. Something about him needing a good start in life. I didn't think it was your fund, but now?" Emma's stomach dropped. "You think they gave my emergency fund to Jake?" "I think we should find out," Blair said firmly, handing her the tea. "Starting with your dad." The next morning, Emma stepped out onto Blair's small balcony and called her father. The phone rang 5 times before he picked up. "Emma? It's early." "I know. Dad, I really need to talk about the emergency fund. My apartment's ruined. I'm staying with Blair." "Boss. I'm sorry to hear that. But can this wait until later today?" Emma's voice grew sharper. "Dad, I don't have a home right now. I need a place to stay or money for a hotel." "I'll talk to your mother and we'll call you back," he said quickly. Try to stay calm, okay? The line went dead. Emma stood still, gripping the phone. Her dad hadn't even asked if she was okay. Later that afternoon, Emma's phone buzzed again. Jake. What do you want? She answered coldly. Jake laughed. Relax, sis. I just wanted to see how your flood drama's going. Emma clenched her jaw. You know what's funny? I've spent 10 years putting money into that family fund. And now that I need it, I'm being told to go couch surf. Jake's tone changed. Emma, Mom and Dad think I need the car to get serious about work. You're doing fine without help. You don't even have a job, Jake. Yeah, well, they trust me. Maybe you should have learned how to play nice. Emma hung up. Her hands were shaking. He turned to Blair. He knows. He knows the fund's been promised to him. That night, Emma pulled out a manila folder she had kept with all her bank slips and records. Blair, I need your help. I have every deposit I ever made to that account. If they try to take that money. Blair sat beside her. Let's go through it. If your name's on that account and the deposits are mostly yours, we have a case. They spread the papers on the floor. Each slip had Emma's name on it. Transfer after transfer, month after month. Look at this, Blair pointed. You've put in over $50,000. And this one says, primary account holder, Emma Hayes. That means they can't legally give it away. Emma nodded slowly. Then I'm going to stop them. I don't care what Jake thinks he deserves. That weekend, Emma's parents invited her over for dinner. It'll be good to talk in person, her mother had said on the phone. Emma arrived to find the table set, candles lit, and Jake already seated with a smirk. So, her dad said, carving the roast, how are things going with Blair? Emma sat stiffly. Fine. Still waiting to hear why the emergency fund was off limits when I needed it. Her mother sighed. Emma, we thought you'd be okay. You always figure things out. Jake snorted. Unlike some of us, apparently. Emma turned to her parents. I was homeless. I needed help. But instead you were planning to buy Jake a car. An awkward silence fell over the room. Emma placed her fork down. Let me ask you something. When Jake turned 25, didn't he move into your basement rent-free? Her mother glanced at her father but said nothing. Emma continued, I never asked for anything. I paid my way, worked full-time and saved every month. I put $50,000 into that fund. And when my apartment flooded, I got told to go stay with a friend. Her father looked uneasy. We didn't say you couldn't have the money. We just needed time to talk. Jake interrupted, you're making a big deal out of this. I need a car to get to job interviews. That helps everyone in the long run. Emma looked directly at him. So you get a new car and I sleep on a couch? After dinner, Emma stepped outside to breathe. As she stood near the hedges, she heard voices through the open kitchen window. She's being unreasonable, her mother whispered. Jake, has waited patiently. We agreed to give him the fund this year. She's contributed the most, Carol, her father replied. Legally, she has the right. Her mother's tone hardened. He needs help more than she does. She'll land on her feet like she always does. This is Carter's chance. Emma's breath caught in her throat. Her mother had decided long ago. This wasn't about fairness. It was about favorites. Emma walked back in, grabbed her coat and said, Thanks for dinner. I'm heading out. Her mother called after her. Wait, Emma, can we talk a little more? No, Emma said calmly. I've heard everything I need. She walked to her car, the night air cool against her face. Her phone buzzed. Another text from her mother. Don't be dramatic. Come back in. We'll sort it out as a family. Emma turned off her phone and drove back to Blair's. Her chest felt tight, but she was done begging for support. He had a plan now. Emma dropped her keys on the kitchen table at Blair's apartment. You okay? Blair asked, standing at the stove cooking eggs. They're giving the money to Jake. My mom literally said it's his turn. Blair turned, spatula in hand. That's not just unfair. It's messed up. Emma sat at the table, rubbing her forehead. I overheard them. My dad tried to push back, but Mom's already decided. Blair placed a plate in front of her. Then you know what you have to do. Emma nodded. I'm going to the bank tomorrow. I'm taking out the entire amount. It's mine. Emma lay awake on Blair's pull-out couch, staring at the ceiling. She thought about her teenage years. working weekends, saying no to vacations, and transferring every extra dollar into the emergency fund. Her parents had praised her then. "You're so mature," her mother used to say. "You'll thank yourself one day." But now that same fund was being used to reward Jake for what? Waiting. She turned over, frustrated. Blair stirred in her room but didn't come out. Emma finally sat up, grabbed her laptop and began pulling up account statements. Tomorrow had to go right. The next morning, Emma walked into the bank just after it opened. Maria, the teller she knew well, smiled. "Emma, hi. Everything okay?" Emma handed over her ID and account documents. "I'd like to transfer all funds from this joint account into my personal one." Maria blinked. "All of it?" "Yes." Maria typed quickly, then looked up. "You've deposited nearly all of this. I only see your name on the deposit slips." Emma nodded. "I know." Maria hesitated. "Do your parents know you're withdrawing this much?" Emma gave a small smile. "They will soon." Maria completed the transfer. "That's $53,021.34 now in your personal savings," she said. Emma thanked her, took the receipt and walked outside. The morning air felt different, lighter somehow. She sat in her car, stared at the bank's glass doors and let the moment sink in. She hadn't stolen anything. She hadn't lied. She had simply used what was hers. Her phone buzzed with missed calls. She turned it off again, drove to a quiet cafe and opened her laptop. It was time to make one more record for herself. Emma spent the next hour creating a spreadsheet. It listed every contribution she'd made over 10 years. She labeled each deposit, added dates, amounts and comments. Then she added up her parents' contributions, less than 5%. She stared at the final line. She had built this fund. She had done it while working overtime, skipping luxuries and planning for the worst. She placed a copy of the file on a flash drive and drove back to the bank to store it in a safe deposit box. Inside, she added a handwritten note. "This fund was mine. I just needed to remember that." As Emma locked the deposit box, her phone rang again. This time she answered. Her mother's voice was sharp. "Emma, what did you do? There's a withdrawal alert on the account." Emma kept her voice calm. "I transferred the money. It's mine." "That money wasn't just for you," Emma replied. "I contributed over $50,000. You said it was for family emergencies. I'm in one. You had no right." "I had every right. Don't call me unless you want to talk respectfully." Then she ended the call. That night, Emma told Blair everything. "I've never heard her so angry," Emma said. "She threatened to call the police." Blair widened her eyes. "Over money you legally saved? That's insane." "She said I betrayed the family." Blair scoffed. "No, Emma. They betrayed you. You were just the only one keeping score." Emma sat back on the couch sipping tea. "For once, I'm not cleaning up someone else's mess. I'm taking care of myself." Blair grinned. "About time." They clinked their mugs together. The next morning, Emma woke to over a dozen missed calls and texts. Her father, her mother, even Aunt Valerie had tried to reach her. The latest message from her dad read, "Let's talk. I don't agree with how this was handled, but we need to resolve this calmly." Emma sighed. Now they want to talk. Blair peeked into the living room. "Let me guess, your phone's melting?" Emma nodded. "I'm just not ready to be yelled at again." "You don't owe anyone an explanation," Blair said. "You only ever asked for help when you really needed it." Emma looked down at her phone. And even then they shut the door. Later that day, someone knocked on Blair's apartment door. Emma opened it slowly. Aunt Valerie stood there holding a grocery bag. "I thought you might need some food," she said awkwardly. "And I wanted to talk." Emma let her in. Valerie sat quietly at the kitchen table, eyes scanning the small room. "Your mom told me you drained the account." Emma folded her arms. "I took my money. She was about to give it to Jake for a car while I was living in a flooded apartment." Valerie sighed. "I didn't know about the flood. Carol said you were exaggerating." Emma laughed bitterly. "Of course she did." Valerie looked uncomfortable. "Emma, I know you've always been the one they leaned on. You've been helping since you were 19. And I never said anything, but I saw how often you stepped up." Emma softened a little. "Then why didn't anyone ever say something?" Valerie looked at her hands. "Because you never complained. And because Carol always said you could handle anything. Emma blinked. That doesn't mean it's okay. No, Valerie said. It's not. Emma nodded slowly. Then tell her that. She still thinks I'm the villain. I'll talk to her, Valerie said. But don't expect miracles. That evening, Blair came rushing into the living room holding her phone. Emma, you need to see this. Blair handed it over. Emma opened Jake's Instagram. There, in a bright red caption over a photo of him standing next to a new sports car, were the words. Hard work pays off. Hashtag new wheels, hashtag grind mode, hashtag blessed. Emma's jaw clenched. Hard work. He didn't even have a job last week. Blair raised her eyebrows. Did your parents already promise him the car before you took the money? Looks like they were already celebrating, Emma said coldly. And blaming me for ruining it. She tossed the phone onto the couch. Unbelievable. The next morning there was another knock. Emma peeked out the window. It's Jake, she said. Blair walked over. Want me to tell him to go away? No, Emma said. I'll handle it. She opened the door a crack. What do you want? Jake looked tired, less smug than usual. Can we talk? Just 5 minutes. Emma hesitated, then stepped outside with him. You took all the money, Jake said, sounding more disappointed than angry. Now Mom's freaking out. Emma crossed her arms. She should have thought about that before handing over my emergency fund behind my back. Jake sighed. Look, I know I haven't contributed like you. But I really needed that help. Emma stared at him. And I really needed a place to live last week. I didn't see you offering a thing. Jake looked down. They told me the money was meant for me. That they wanted to help me get on my feet. You never saved for it. You never asked if it was mine. You just assumed. Jake looked embarrassed. You're right. Emma blinked. What? I was selfish. I let them spoil me. And when you stood up for yourself, I acted like a victim. Emma leaned against the stair rail. So what now? You want me to feel bad? No, Jake said. I came to say I get it now. I just started a real job marketing firm. I'm moving into a small studio next week. Emma looked at him skeptical. What changed? You did, he said. When you took your money, it hit me. I kept expecting people to fix things for me. You stopped that. She studied his face. He did look different, tired, serious. Jake smiled faintly. I'm not here to make excuses. I just wanted you to know I'm trying. 2 days later, Emma woke to the sound of knocking, loud and persistent. Blair opened the door, surprised to see both Emma's parents standing there. Her dad spoke first. Emma, can we talk? Emma stepped into the hallway, arms folded. About what? How you plan to give Jake my money? Her mom looked upset. You shouldn't have taken it all without telling us. Emma raised her voice. I told you I needed it. I was sleeping on a couch while you were planning to buy a car. Her dad nodded slowly. We were wrong. We should have talked to you first. They sat in Blair's kitchen, the tension heavy. We thought you'd be fine, her mother said. You've always been the strong one. That doesn't mean I'm unbreakable, Emma said. I needed help. I begged. You told me to sleep at a friend's. Her mother looked ashamed. I wanted to help Jake find direction. And I wanted to keep my home, Emma replied. Her father added, the problem is we saw Jake struggling but we didn't see you suffering. Emma's eyes burned. Because I never showed it. But that doesn't mean it wasn't there. Emma took a deep breath. I'm not giving the money back. Not now, not later. Her mother frowned. But we always meant it to be for both of you. No, Emma said firmly. You meant it to be for him because you assumed I'd never need it. Her father looked at her quietly. What do you want from us now? Nothing, she said. I've got a repaired apartment, a job I love, and my name on my own account. I'm not angry anymore, but I'm done being your safety net. They nodded slowly, realizing she meant it. 2 weeks later, Emma stood in the middle of her repaired apartment. The walls were clean, the floor newly installed, and the faint scent of fresh paint still lingered. Blair helped her carry in the last box of folded clothes. This looks better than before, Blair said, setting the box down. Feels like a reset. Emma smiled. It is. She had bought herself a new couch, not too expensive but soft and warm. She picked out curtains in her favorite shade of green. For the first time in years she spent money without guilt, without second-guessing if she should save it for someone else's emergency. One evening, Emma got a call from Aunt Desiree. "I heard about everything," she said gently. "Your mom told me you stole from the family." Emma sighed. "I didn't steal anything. I just finally took care of myself." Desiree chuckled. "I figured. Your mother has a way of twisting things. She asked me to talk to you, to convince you to return the money." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Did you?" "No," Desiree said. "I told her the family isn't broken because of the money. It's broken because they treated you like an ATM." Emma laughed for the first time in days. "Thank you." Jake stopped by the apartment later that week holding a pizza box. "I figured you wouldn't turn down pepperoni," he said sheepishly. Emma let him in and they sat on her new couch. Jake glanced around. "You did a good job fixing it up." "Thanks," she replied. "How's the new job?" "It's real," Jake said with a laugh. "No trust fund. No car payments. Just me, a bus pass and early meetings." Emma smirked. "Welcome to adulthood." He looked at her. "I mean it, Emma. I'm sorry. For everything. I let them treat you like a backup plan." Emma nodded slowly. "I appreciate you saying that." "I do." Jake took a sip of soda. "They still think you'll come around. That you'll return the money." "I won't," she said plainly. "I finally realized something. It's not about the money. It's about respect. I've been their support system for years and I was still disposable." Jake looked ashamed. "I saw it but I didn't speak up. That was cowardly." Emma shrugged. "You're trying now. That matters." They clinked their drinks together quietly, a sign that something, just maybe, was beginning to heal between them. That night, Emma's phone buzzed with a message from an unfamiliar number. "Hi Emma. It's Jake. New number. Just wanted to say, thanks. For the example. I hope I can do better from here." She stared at the message for a while then typed back. "Thanks. Good luck with your new job." Emma put her phone down and turned off the light, her heart a little lighter than it had been in weeks. The next morning, Emma made herself coffee and sat by the window. She opened her budgeting app and smiled at the sight of her personal savings, healthy, untouched and completely hers. She no longer felt guilty spending on herself. She no longer felt like she had to earn love by paying bills or staying quiet. For the first time in years she didn't feel trapped by her family's expectations. She felt free. Emma's phone rang again, this time from her dad. She let it go to voicemail. Then she listened. His voice was quiet. "Emma, I know we've made mistakes. I hope someday you let us back in. But I understand if you can't. I'm proud of you. We just didn't say it enough." Emma saved the message. She wasn't ready to return the call, but she was glad he finally said it. Emma and Blair sat on the balcony that evening watching the city lights flicker on. "You know," Blair said, "I've always known you were strong. But this, standing up for yourself, this is something else." Emma smiled. "It's the first time I've lived for myself, not for anyone else's approval." Blair leaned back. "What now?" Emma looked out at the horizon. "Now, I built something new. Just for me." And with that she raised her glass and toasted to a future she finally owned, no longer the family's safety net, but her own anchor. Moral lesson. Even the strongest need support. Responsibility should never mean sacrificing your worth for others' comfort. Stand up for yourself, even when it means walking away from the people you once carried.